May I undress you? He said yes. What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris. Now today's video is all about my life-size Michael Myers statue from the latest Halloween film that came out last year. I have finally finished this piece with the exception of one other piece that I will be explaining very shortly. But like I said, today's video is all about the life-size statue. I'm going to do a breakdown of what's involved in creating a statue like this. So that means we gotta get him naked to show you guys what's going on under that costume. Now I just want to clear the air with something. A lot of people had been following my life-size Freddy Krueger statue from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Now I did chop him down a bit where eventually it was just a torso. This is how the display looks now. Now let me explain myself as to why I opted for just a bust display as opposed to a life-size display. So as you know, Freddy is somewhat of a jokester. He has a big personality as opposed to our good friend Mr. Myers here. So recreating Freddy's personality in a statue form is very hard to do. And by the end of it, I was just not happy with the look of the overall statue in terms of personality and structure, and it just wasn't anatomically correct to me. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing, so I opted for the bust look. I'm happy with it, I'm at peace with it. But in terms of making Michael Myers look menacing, it's pretty easy because it's Michael Myers. He doesn't really have a personality. He is just evil personified. So the first thing we gotta do is undress this bad boy, get him naked. I'm sure he's gonna love that. I'm gonna show you guys the brand new hand display that I've finally completed holding a knife. I'm gonna show you guys what's going on under the mask, what is under those coveralls, and how I had to chop and change this mannequin to the nth degree. May I undress you? He said yes. This looks so wrong. Okay, so here is what the mannequin looks like underneath the costume. So in terms of the mannequin itself, it was just a stock standard gloss black mannequin that I acquired off eBay. This guy was actually pretty tall. I originally bought the mannequin to mount my Pirate Batman armor onto, and it just did not look right. So I kept it under the house for months until I thought one day, instead of doing the life-size Freddy statue, I'm gonna do a life-size Michael Myers statue. So like I said, the mannequin was quite tall. Even without the head, it was 6'2". Now, James Dew Courtney is 6'3", the gentleman who plays Michael Myers in the new film, whilst Nick Castle is 5'11". Nick Castle is from the original Halloween, who portrayed the Shape, and portrayed the Shape in the new Halloween for one shot. So I had to do a lot of chop and changing, because you gotta think about it. The coveralls are designed to fit me. They're my size, so on a 6'2" mannequin, he was Harry High Pants, and there was just no bagginess to the boots, and it just did not look right. So I had to do a lot of chopping and a lot of changing with the mannequin. Now, it does look quite rustic and archaic the way I've done it, but it works. So it was a matter of attacking the legs with an angle grinder and finding that happy medium until I found that perfect height. He's not gonna be 6'3", obviously because of the coveralls, so I guess it's kind of meeting halfway between Nick Castle's height and James Dew Courtney's height. I then got some plastic brackets, just square pieces of cut out plastic, and screwed them into place. I then got a lot of duct tape for the legs and for the arm and just wrapped it around until it held in place, and it works. In the future, I should probably actually go back over it with some fiberglass and fiberglass matting just to make sure it's not gonna go anywhere, but for the time being, I'm in no rush to do that. So as you can see here, I've actually painted the neck area a flesh color, because that's where the neck is exposed under the mask. I do actually have to go back in and soil it a bit more because it's just not matching up with the hands. Whilst the hands are very dirty, the neck is still a little bit too clean for my liking. So I do actually have to keep the boots on the mannequin. It just helps it balance a bit more. There are little pieces of block wood under the heels just to give him a bit more height and just to make sure that he's not going to topple backwards over. The base itself was left over from the life-size Freddy, and I got a vinyl piece of sheeting that resembles wooden floorboards, much like Laurie's house in the new Halloween. I'm pretty much trying to base the look of this life-size figure off that lovely panning shot. It's pretty much like a silhouette of Michael in Laurie's house when he's stalking her just after he's had his fingers blown off. And if you're wondering what the foam is, this is actually acting as padding to put around his midsection to give him a bit more weight, because he's a bit more older now. He's 60 years old. He's got a bit of a dad bod going on. So I still haven't found some Activate boots that are available in the size for the mannequin and myself. I have to wait till they come back in stock, because at the moment they're just sold out everywhere. They do pop up occasionally, but when I go to get them, they're gone. You got to be so quick with this stuff. Now, as we all know, the mask itself for this display comes from Trick or Treat Studios, that is founded by my good friend Justin Mabry. The mask comes from a movie mold, the same molds that we used for the film, so you are getting something that is pretty much 100% screen accurate in terms of the aestheticness and the cracks and everything like that. So this is actually repainted by myself and my good buddy Cameron. I'm very happy with the end result. Now, the mask itself is mounted on a foam casting of my life cast. I poured some expander foam in the mold of my life cast, and I actually had to shave down quite a bit of stuff, including the nose. So as far as what's going on there is no nose there because it was pushing too much on the mask, and then I mounted a stocking over the entire piece just to give those really dark black looking eyes. Now, I did mention at the beginning of the video that this statue isn't entirely completed yet, and that's this. I did end up sculpting an eye insert plate that you can swap out. So obviously one eye will have the dead eye and then his regular eye. Just to give you guys a nice close up at that. I still am waiting on the eyes to arrive. It's one of those things where I want this to be optional because it kind of ruins the illusion when you see Michael's eyes through the mask. I'm all for having just darkness there, but in terms of screen accuracy, you want this as well to have as an option. Now, the hand props are something I'm very proud of. I did a lot of R&D and a lot of work went into these bad boys. So I did actually do a video on the molding process of the left hand, the shotgun blast hand. So these are actually my dad's hands. I took a mold of both of my dad's hands. In terms of the knife gripping one, I took a mold of dad's hand gripping a resin casting of the knife that I took a mold of, not the blade. The blade was cut off, all I needed was the handle. Because you gotta understand, you could always mold someone's hand just like that and put the butt of the knife there and the blade there, but it just doesn't look right. You need to actually physically be gripping something because the skin folds change on the hand when you are physically gripping something. So I took a mold of dad's hand in alginate whilst gripping the handle. I got dad to remove his hand and keep the handle encased in the alginate mold. I then poured liquid Monster Maker's clay inside the alginate mold, chipped away the alginate, and then I had a clay casting still gripping the handle. The silicone mold was then made with a plaster shell mold, and this is the end result. I do cast the blade separately in a block mold that is also made from silicone. I then embed an aluminium rod into both pieces, slot them in together, and glue them in place, and this is the end result. So these guys are actually also for sale on my Etsy store, along with the shotgun blast hand. I offer them individually or as a set. Now, I did attach the locking mechanism for the mannequin on these, and it's just expander foam on the inside. It is translucent resin that has been tinted a flesh color just to get that nice translucency look going on. So you guys know what I mean by I do have to dirty up the neck a bit more because these hands are still a bit too grubby as opposed to the neck. It just doesn't look right, it still needs to all match up. So I'll give you guys a nice close look at the detail there. The blade is chrome sprayed and then the gore effects are added later on. Very happy with how this turned out. It was a bit tricky from an engineering standpoint with molding it because you gotta understand there's a lot of undercuts going on here and you want to just maintain that natural look that the alginate picks up in terms of skin pores and imperfections and stuff like that. So that is pretty much a overall breakdown of the life-size statues. So it's time to put him back together. I'm gonna show you guys some full body shots, close-up shots, everything like that. So I have finally settled on a pose in the direction I want him, and this is it. I did have him on the side at first, but it's one of those things where I can opt just to go back and forth with it. He's a lot easier to pose than Freddy, trust me. So we're gonna put his clothes back on, we're gonna put him back together, show you guys some nice close-up shots, and then we're gonna call it a day. Now, FYI, I have not yet acquired the same make and model undershirt that James Stu Courtney and Nick Castle wore. This is just from Just Jeans. It cost me like 15 bucks, I think it was. So it does the job for now. It's pretty much the same color, the same kind of burn material fabric going on here. I'm in no rush to get the original undershirt or the boots, but I know eventually they'll be out there again soon. These are actually still readily available. It's just the Activate boots that I'm having trouble with at the moment. Okay, so like I said, the foam padding goes around the midsection. It's not very high tech, but it does the job just to give him a bit more of a gut, an old man gut, because he's not a weedy, you know, 65 kilo, 5'11", 21-year-old anymore. And there you have it, guys. That is a full breakdown of my life-size Michael Myers statue. Hope you guys got a kick out of that. Now, if you guys were wanting to acquire certain pieces like the same make and model coveralls, the boots, the undershirt, and the knife, I will leave a list down below in the video description of the proper names of all those pieces. Just search them on Google. You'll definitely find something there. As for the Activate boots, still keeping an eye out. I'm sure some of you guys have tracked them down. If you have, more power to you. I just gotta keep on trying and looking every day. So guys, thank you so much as always for watching. This is kind of a horror themed week. I have a review coming this week of a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Freddy glove from my good mate Jameson, who has Dark Dream Design. Can't wait to show you guys that one. This glove is probably one of the most accurate Part 4 gloves I have ever seen. Guys, wherever you are in the world, have yourselves a cracker of a day. Hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best. You wanna get a beer?